Very good morning, students. Again, it's Kumar Swami here from Department of Zoology, DVS College of Arts and Science, Shimoga. Dear students, our HOD madam has already circulated you the details of the syllabus, which is supposed to be covered by all faculty of Zoology Department. On this line, let me start with this class Amphibia first. You know that I am supposed to cover this class Amphibia, class Avia, class Reptilia and class Mammalia and some other topics. Today let me start with this class Amphibia. You know students, amphibians, the term is derived from the Greek term wherein amphi refers to dual or both and bios refers to living. That means these are the animals which can live in both water and as well as on land. Hence these are called as amphibians. You all know that during the course of evolution, fishes gave rise to amphibians and amphibians gave rise to reptiles. So also reptiles gave rise to birds and birds finally gave rise to mammals. And during this course of evolution, as you know that these amphibians have evolved from fishes, and wherein these fishes are purely aquatic, and at the time of that origin and evolution of these amphibians and fishes, there were intense competitions in the water bodies where these ancestors of amphibians were living. So they have made an attempt to come out of the water and they started living on land. So among vertebrates, they are the first group of animals which come out of the water and started dwelling or living as terrestrial animals. So in this first slide, you will be observing some fascinating colors of the different amphibian species. Now, let us go through some general characters of class amphibians. You already studied some of these basic characters of class amphibians in your PU class itself. Let me go through the details of such characters in detail. First thing is, they are the first cold-blooded vertebrates from the evolution point of view which came to the land, and the class Amphibia includes about 3000 species. You know what these cold-blooded animals are? They are the animals which can modify or change their body temperature in accordance with the surrounding environment. So from the evolutionary point of view, as I said earlier, they were forced to come out of the water and they started living as terrestrial animals. And this class Amphibia includes about 3000 species, and these are amphibious in nature, that is, they can live on land as well as in water. And they are usually found more in number in warm countries, and they are ectothermic, that is, cold-blooded animals. Body is divisible into head and trunk. However, tail may be present in some of the amphibians. The skin is smooth or rough, having glands which keep it moist. They are usually without scales, but if present, they are hidden beneath the skin, that is in case of caecilians. They have paired fins are absent and unpaired fins may be present, and the two pairs of limbs are used for locomotion except caecilians. The gills are present as respiratory organs, at least in their larval stages, and in some adult forms also carry external gills in addition to lungs. So it is very clear that the larval forms of these amphibians are aquatic, whereas the adults are terrestrial, and in larval forms or in the larval stage, they used to breathe or respire through gills, but when they metamorphose or when they transform into adults, they start respiring through lungs. However, in some of the amphibians, like in Nectarus, Proteus, or mud puppy, or whatever it may be, they have some external gills also. And the skull is dicondylic, that is with two occipital condyles, which is for articulation with the vertebral column. You know, the skull of generally in animals, especially in vertebrates, either it is monocondylic or dicondylic. Condylic refers to the occipital condyle, the number, and based on the number, the skull in vertebrates is classified into monocondylic or dicondylic. In case of these amphibians, they have dicondylic type of skull, that is for articulation with the vertebral column. The respiratory organs are lungs and the buccopharyngeal cavity, skin and gills. That means they have a wide range of respiratory organs, but mostly they respire through lungs, that is in the adult stage, and they also respire through buccopharyngeal cavity, that is through the mouth and pharynx cavities. And some of the amphibians, especially the adult amphibians, when they enter into water, they start respiring through the skin, the method what is known as cutaneous respiration. However, the larval forms, they respire through gills only. The heart is three-chambered, having two auricles and one ventricle, and in the heart there are present sinus, venosus and truncus, arteriosus, the very important components which aid the circulation process. Both hepatic portal and renal portal systems are well developed, and the RBCs are biconvex, oval and nucleated. Kidneys are mesonephric. Urinary bladder is present in frog, and the larvae and tailed amphibians, they are ammonotelic. You know what these mesonephric kidneys are? They are slightly advanced than pronephric kidneys which are there in case of fishes. So very few of these amphibians, like some frogs, they have urinary bladder, and mostly these amphibians are ammonotelic, wherein frogs and toads are ureotelic, that is the adult forms. So usually the adult forms are ureotelic, whereas the larval forms are ammonotelic in case of amphibians. Alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tracts open into a common chamber called cloaca, which opens outside through cloacal aperture. And the ear consists of internal and middle ear, tympanum, that is outer membrane which covers the middle ear. The eyes have eyelids. Nictitating membrane is well developed. 10 pairs of cranial nerves are present, and lateral line system is found during their development. Lateral line system is a type of sensory structure. Usually the fertilization is external. However, in salamander and ichthyophis, which is called blindworm, fertilization is internal. Usually these males of amphibians, they do not have copulatory organs, hence they resort for external fertilization, that means which happens in the aquatic medium. Though the adult forms of these amphibians are terrestrial, but during their breeding season they enter into water, that is the nearby water bodies, and start reproducing. And these amphibians are mostly oviparous, that is they lay eggs. However, salamander is viviparous, means it used to give birth to the young ones directly. And the development is mostly indirect with larval stage, which is generally known as tadpole larva. As I said earlier, they return to water for breeding, though they are terrestrials, especially the adult forms, and the male lacks copulatory organs. The metamorphosis is usually present, and the type of metamorphosis is called progressive metamorphosis, wherein the larval stages will have very simpler characters, whereas the adults will have complex characters. So such drastic changes will happen from larva to adult, hence the type of metamorphosis is called progressive metamorphosis. And a fish like larva called tadpole is present, hence the indirect development is present. And they occur in freshwater and moist land, and amphibians are generally not found in sea water except a few. So these are some important and general characters of class Amphibia. Now coming to classification. So with reference to classification, the class Amphibia has two main subclasses. One is Stegocephalia and the other one is what is known as Lissamphibia. In case of Stegocephalia, the subclass, limbs are usually pentadactyl, skin with scales and bony plates, skull with a solid bony roof, leaving openings for eyes and nostrils. And it is to be noted here, students, that all the members of this subclass 1, that is Stegocephalia, they are no more. That means they are extinct forms. And this has 3 orders. Number 1, Labyrinthodontia, wherein the oldest known tetrapods called stem amphibians were present, and it included salamander or crocodile-like amphibians. The example known is Eriops. And order 2, Philospondyle, wherein it comprised of small salamander-like amphibians, wherein they had large head and flat head, and the vertebrae were tubular, notochord and spinal cord are housed in common cavity. Example, Brachiosaurus. Now order 3, Lepospondyle, wherein they had small salamander or ear-like body. The vertebrae are cylindrical type and each is made of a single piece. That means vertebrae consisting of only one piece. Best example that was there in this Lepospondyle was Diplocolus. So here you can see some of the earliest amphibians which are no more and which are said to be extinct, and these were included under Lepospondyle. Now coming to the subclass 2, Lissamphibia. Based on the characters of present day amphibians, the Lissamphibians are further classified into 3 orders. Some of the examples are shown on the right side of this slide, and it includes 3 orders, 3 living orders. They are Anura, which includes frogs and toads. Order 2, Urodila, which includes salamanders. Order 3, Apoda, which includes limbless amphibians. Now coming to order 1 of subclass 2, that is Lissamphibia, that is Anura, order 1, Anura. So in Greek terminology, an refers to without and aura refers to tail. That is, these are the amphibians which are not having tail. And these were also referred to as salientia, wherein according to Latin terminology, saliens refers to leaping. That means they exhibit leaping type of movement. Let us go through some important characters of this order Anura. This order Anura includes frogs and toads. They can live in water and as well as on land, and they inhabit tropical and temperate regions. Body is short and broad with head and trunk. The forelimbs are small. The hind limbs are long for leaping and swimming, and the feet are generally webbed type. In the adult stage, tail is absent. Skin is scaleless, without scales. Vertebrae are said to be procellus type, and they are fewer in number. Generally about 9 vertebrae are present. Caudal vertebrae fuse to form urostyle. Ribs are reduced or absent. Teeth are usually found on the upper jaw or absent also, and gills and gill slits are absent in adults. Vocal cords are present and they show a pair of eyes, tympanic membrane, and the life history includes a larval stage called tadpole larva. Some familiar examples: Elites, which is commonly called midwife toad because of its very well organized type of parental care. Then Cacopus, which is commonly known as burrowing frog, and Xenopus, commonly known as clawed toad, and Buffo, which is a very common toad found in India. Now coming to order 2, Urodela or chordata. Auro, according to Greek terminology, refers to tail and delo refers to visible. So these are the amphibians wherein the adult forms have visible tail, that means prominent tail is present in the adult stage. And it is also referred to as chordata because according to Latin terminology, chorda refers to tail and eta refers to bearing. So tail bearing amphibians are included under chordata. Let us go through some important characters of this order, Urodela. This order includes salamanders and newts, and these urodelans are more in North America. Hence, North America is called headquarters of urodels. The body is divisible into head, trunk, and tail. The forelimbs and hind limbs are equal and weak. The body is having scaleless skin. Vertebrae are ophistocoelous type, that is amphicoelous in some amphibians, and these are numerous number of vertebrae they have. Ribs are present, teeth are present on both the jaws, vocal cords are absent, but these are present in the previous order, and vocal cords are absent. In some adults the gills are present, middle ear is absent, eyes are smaller and eyelids are present in some. Copulatory organ is absent, but fertilization is internal. And some forms show a unique phenomenon called neoteny and pedogenesis. And in North India, only one species is available, that is Tyloteutran venvoska. In South India, urodelan animals are generally absent. Some good examples are Nectarus, commonly also known as siren, Proteus, commonly known as mud puppy or blind salamander, and Molge, commonly known as newt. And the larval form of this Nectarus is what is known as amblystoma. So this is all about order 2, Urodela. Now coming to order 3, Apoda, which is also called Gymnophiana. Apoda, the name itself suggests they do not have poda, that is limbs, so these are limbless amphibians. And these animals are limbless, hence they are called Apoda. The body is long and snake-like, hence they are also known as Gymnophiana. And the body is divisible into head and trunk, tail is absent, and on the head 2 eyes are present, and the head is covered by skin and scales. Hence they are blind forms, that is Sicilians. Vertebrae are amphicoelous type and numerous in numerous type, and the lungs are asymmetrical type. The skin shows minute cycloid scales, and in the male apodan animals, copulatory organs are present, but not very well developed. Fertilization is internal. Some good examples are Ichthyophis, commonly known as limbless amphibian, and Gygenophis, commonly known as again limbless amphibian, and Ureotyphlops. So these are the 3 living orders which comes under Lissamphibia, the second subclass of class Amphibia. So these 3 are very important from the point of view of your examination. So here is a slide wherein you can see a variety of amphibian species which are shown here. And let me go through the last slide of this class Amphibia. What is the difference between frogs and toads? Though it is not directly related to the syllabus, but you should know about the differences between frogs and toads, the details of which are shown here, wherein these frogs are having thin, wet and smooth type of skin that has more colorful, and it lays eggs in clusters, and it has very long legs, and it lives in water, and it prefers to jump or hop, and it has a slim body type. Wherein toads are having thick dry skin with bumps and usually brown, and may have some projections called warts, and it lays eggs in chain, and it has stout body type, and it prefers to walk or use small hops, and usually it lives on land. So this is all about this today's class, students. So I have completed the general characters of class Amphibia and its classification. Let me go through the other topics of this class Amphibia in the next class. So this is all about my today's class. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.